I'm finding that most people could care less that there's a PC leadership race going on. I think that is probably what is going to be the difference in this campaign, is that in the past, because there was a 40-year dynasty, choosing the leader of the PC party meant that you were choosing the next government. That's not going to happen this time. The next government is going to be chosen in the provincial election campaign. The leader of the party, whoever it may be, is going to have to seek a mandate to govern, because I think the mandate of this government has run out. And for the first time, they're going to face a well-organized opposition who is ready to challenge them in every single riding to offer a Wildrose candidate up so that people have an option to vote for someone else. And I think that's going to be it's going to be a nice change. We're finally actually going to have a campaign that's out about ideas. We're finally going to have a campaign where there isn't a single safe Tory seat in the province. And I think that's good for democracy. The common thing that I think we're finding is that people are feeling that the government has become so out of touch with what's happening in their communities. And this is you can see it in how they operate as a government. They are removing decision making from local communities. It's almost like they've lost faith in local people to make their own decisions. So you see the health regions stripped of their power, and now we have a super board. You see the school board stripped of their power with a central teacher contract that was negotiated. You see municipalities stripped of decision making because they have to beg cap in hand for grants from the provincial government. You see land use planning decisions now taking out of the hands of local people, with the cabinet making decisions about what land use planning there should be. You see with the power line decision, again, taking decisions out of the hands of independent panels and now being put in the hands of cabinet. This is a pattern of behavior that we're now seeing with the government. They just believe all you have to do is hire a bunch of smart central planners and they can figure things out. Well, it's not worked out that way. What's happened is we get worse and worse decisions. We get decisions that have that don't reflect on what it is the community demands or interests are, and we end up seeing the cost of bureaucracy escalate while the quality of services decline. We think we need to reverse that. There's a couple of ways that we want to attack red tape. I hear this no matter what industry group I'm talking to, whether I'm talking to people in the private sector or the nonprofit, the burden of all of the forms and paperwork and permits and licenses and reporting, it is crushing our entrepreneurs, whether they're in the social sector or in the private sector. There are a couple of innovative approaches that have been taken in other provinces. The one approach that I like the best is the one in Nova Scotia, where they actually sat their civil servants down and made them fill out all of the permits and forms and licenses and reports that they were imposing on other people, timed how long it took them to do it, and then developed a overall benchmark for how many hours of paperwork burden there was, and the politicians said, okay, reduce it by 20%. That's the same kind of approach we need to take here. When our beef producers end up having to face additional regulatory burden here that adds an extra $85 per head of cattle, that makes them uncompetitive. We have to clear away some of those regulatory burdens so that they can put more money in their own pockets. And we intend to go through and do an assessment of the regulatory burden at the provincial level, work with our counterparts at the federal level, and reduce that overall load so that we can make our producers profitable again. We know they just want to be able to compete. They want to be able to find markets. They want to be able to sell to those markets, but they can't do it when they have a weight of additional paperwork and government regs on their back. If we can get that off their back, I have every confidence that our producers will find a way to be able to find the markets and be profitable again. In so many ways, we're blessed with this abundance of natural resources. We're also blessed with the investment dollars and expertise, trained and talented people to be able to do increasing value added on those primary industries. So I think that we can weather a world decline better than most jurisdictions. I think we've begun to see how in the past, especially when the BSE crisis hit about 10 years ago, how dangerous it can be to rely on a single market for our products. And I think that is going to be the next issue for Alberta and Canada as a whole to face, is how do we diversify our markets? That's the only way that we'll be able to guarantee that we don't get taken down when our closest neighbor has problems in their economy. I think we can always be hopeful that Alberta will weather this through. The reason why we can be hopeful is that we do have a huge amount of resource revenues that no other provinces are really able to enjoy. The problem that we have is a government that doesn't know how to steward our resources properly. They've put us in a position where they've depleted our savings. We've been running massive deficits. even though we've had near record high royalty revenues, the problem that we have here is completely of our own making, and we can't blame world factors for it. The key is to be able to put the policies in place so that we can be back on a sound fiscal footing. And I think we can lead the country, and indeed lead the world, in being able to get back on track in that regard. But we're certainly not going to do it with the government that we have right now that is running record deficits, despite the fact that they've had near record revenues.